Yo, man, I just gotta say, this is much better than, the apartment basement that I live in with my mama right now. What up, y'all? It's MC Swigga, and y'all probably recognize me, legendary musician, famous video game content creator on the interwebs. Well, ever since I first started, I was obviously inspired by a bunch of different reviewer YouTubers that I was watching, Angry Video Game Nerd, Nostalgia Critic, Red Letter Media, Mr. Coat and Friends. I remember one afternoon I was just sipping on moonshine, I get a call from my brother. He says, "Toby, listen, me and Lydia, we're skipping town, we're moving to a different state, we probably failed as parents, can you take care of our boy?" So, I move in with my nephew, Chris. I remember the atheist cesspool that YouTube used to be back in the early 2010s, so I wanted to mix things up and spread a little bit of a captivating Christianity. Haha. So I figured, you know what, yeah, I'll do it, I'll take care of the boy. As long as it means I get some of them sweet child support checks, I'll do it.
Well, I remember when I was really young, I used to live in an orphanage, and I lived in the inner city for a very long time, and then one day after school, I remember I came home, and there were these two boys in the hallway, and they were talking about how this show called My Little Pony was actually really good.
Little does he know, they actually had another boy, but they gave him up for adoption. They gave him away in the city. Probably realized they failed as parents for one kid, they didn't even want to bother raising another one. Well, I came from a far-off distant timeline where the internet went to war with a lot of major film studios and just media studios in general, which I guess to an extent kind of happened with Kappa, but I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Then I watched the show for myself and I was hooked right away. It became my entire outlook on life. I watched every episode, I bought all the merchandise, I've kept up with it ever since.
I wanted to talk about basically everything, every kind of art form, every kind of medium, so sort of a jack-of-all-trades reviewer, and that's where the catchphrase, one art form wasn't enough, comes from. It's like you talk about a wide variety of topics. I was going to go back in time and I was going to try and stop MediaWiz from ever existing, but then he convinced me that, no, we should keep going, and maybe talking about stuff on the internet will actually make things better. It was 2014, it was a much different time back then. Growing up, me and my friends, Jerry and Mike, we used to do a bunch of home movies and stuff in the backyard, whenever we hung out at each other's houses, and we then got a job at one of the last Blockbusters that was still in operation. It was in a really bad part of town. It was near this inner city and stuff like that.
Well, I worked at the local winery at the strip mall, and these guys at the local video store, they come to me and say, "Hey, we need a French narrator like that one SpongeBob cartoon." So I come to them, I do my narration, and they liked it.
We just started doing these parodies of movies that were in the store. We would just kind of film them with a camera and the few props and items that were in the store that we had. We just made them on our free time, and I guess people liked them. It was kind of like that one movie, Be Kind, Rewind. I met up with these two guys at this old video store, and they was talking about how, oh, we want to make a documentary about well-known musicians in the area, and I was like, well, sign me up. And I was talking to them, and they suggested that I get laser eye surgery, and next thing you know, I'm able to see. And I found out that I wasn't exactly what I thought I was going to look like, but still, that didn't stop me.
And ever since then, some of their fellow content creator friends or whatever said that they wanted me to just do more narration.
So I took the boy under my wing, and we just spent so much time worshiping God's country and doing what good, honest, hard-working Americans are supposed to do.
Every once in a while, I do my narration, I say what I need to say, I get in and I get out. I always used to remember Chris from when I was growing up. We used to go to school together before his parents eventually disappeared. I know, when I first got the news that his parents left him, I'm like, that's so terrible. And then it turns out that his uncle was taking care of him now, and
over time I gradually started implementing people I knew in my videos, like my Uncle Toby, and my childhood friend Julia Schwartz, and some guy I never heard of called Mr. Durka. After I moved from a micronation that was about the size of an American cul-de-sac, I came here. And I absolutely hated everything about it.
And the next thing I know, I met up with this guy who was in the area. His name was MediaWiz, and he also liked the show too. So I got to know him, and I got to know a bunch of other people.
As I was using my Blasterizer Phaser Miser, I was trying to open up a portal back to my world, assuming that it was even still around, or maybe if it even got better at that point. And I end up sucking in 30s Man from his time. So it's New Year's Eve, 1939. I'm out on my fire escape. I'm smoking a cigarette. Next thing I know, a big flash of light. Apparently his memory was fried because he didn't remember his own name, so we just kind of took after to nicknaming him 30s Man. Everything else after that's kind of a blur. And I don't think it was just because I was drinking a whole lot of scotch at the time.
And then I remember one afternoon I introduced him to a client of my father's. His name was MC Swigger. He lived in the city.
We also used to have the Stressed Viewer, and he mostly did reviews of things like old commercials, but eventually we got rid of him. We had too many people on this channel. It was for the best, you see. I remember when I started, I did a lot of MLP reviews, and over time I feel like that thing kind of went to Pony Fanboy, which I'm glad.
I even found my biological brother. His name is Chris, and he did videos talking about stuff like VeggieTales and these other things called politics.
So I pounded the pavement. I was doing a bunch of different shit, right? I was doing Swigga green screen. I was doing Swigga game reviews. Obviously that took off. I did the Swig Talk podcast where I was interviewing a bunch of other content creators. They would always be like, "Oh, you're the Sonichu guy," because I started reviewing Sonichu. And eventually I stopped doing that. Eventually I moved on to Ed Netty in 2016, and I feel like that's something I can still talk about regularly because Ed Netty is my favorite show of all time. I remember that MediaWiz guy came to me and he said, "Hey, I need a bit player for a video I'm doing." So I showed up in it, and he said that I was just gonna be a one-time thing, but I guess the guys on this channel liked me enough to where they're like, "Hey, you want to come back every once in a while and do." And I spent the first few years talking about mostly political and religious topics, things that I deemed very important.
I remember I appeared in one of Chris's videos in 2016 because he said he was doing a video talking about vegans, and so I wanted to throw my 2 cents into the mix because he saw me ranting outside of the local 7-Eleven and he said, "Oh, I'd be perfect to be in a video."
I tried a bunch of other stuff from MediaWiz, like Doctor Who. Didn't really stick though. I mean, I think it more applies to FutureWiz because he's a time traveler and stuff. History ain't a straight line. It's just a big ball of wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff. I was like, sure, yeah, I've always wanted to be an internet celebrity. I think that'd be pretty cool. So I just started doing videos where I talk about water. You know, that's my whole thing. I talk about bottled water. I did SpongeBob. That seems to have stuck because every once in a while I'll still talk about SpongeBob for a review here and there. You know, SpongeBob's still going. Can you believe it? SpongeBob is like 25 this year. God, I feel old. Then as I was trying to work on a way back, I opened up a portal to another dimension. There was an evil MediaWiz who became a dictator, and then he was constantly trying to fight MediaWiz, and then MediaWiz banished him to a purgatory dimension of some kind. So we did that for a couple of years, and then eventually the place inevitably got shut down, and then next thing I met up with the guy that does this whole YouTube channel shit, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you guys try to do something a little bit different? Why don't you guys just do videos where you watch movies and talk about them?" As if the internet needed even more of that. I've been trying to branch out, tried doing some Let's Plays of Waterworld on Virtual Boy. And he teamed up with this Chris Chan clone and some emo guy and some kind of shadow being, and yeah, this was all a bunch of storyline stuff from like the early years of the channel, and yeah, all that just kind of happened. I don't really know most of their names, to be honest, but you know, yeah, I remember me and the dude with the Slurpee hat, we tried copying Darman, because I remember Darman was like really popular on YouTube a while ago. And that was kind of cool, but that didn't really go anywhere. And once I get here and I learn the American dream like the rest of you, then I realized something. I was going to be working at a shitty convenience store making minimum wage for the rest of my life. Along with a bunch of other stuff along the way, you know, reviewing crappy pop songs and rap songs and soundtracks and albums. I really enjoy doing those. I really like doing the product reviews like board games and action figures and other such merch reviews. I really enjoy doing those. Biased News Network, where we was talking about all the shit that was going on in the news. We had Assholes React. We were watching a bunch of weird old fucked up videos. We was, you know, making jokes, making commentary, and, you know, being transformative like every other React channel on YouTube and Twitch. Weird tie-in video games. Most of the time they're for like Pixar movies. After a while I was like, alright, I can only talk about bad movies and movies that I hate, or every once in a while you get to see a movie that's so bad it's good, or maybe it's like so dumb it's kind of entertaining. But you can do that for so long until it's like, alright, I need to talk about something that I like, so I started talking about anime and disaster movie, and then we got to other winners like Movie 43 and Inappropriate Comedy. Still the worst movie I've ever seen, not just for my reviews, but in general. Inappropriate Comedy, horrible movie, terrible. It's nice to branch out and talk about stuff you like, so yeah, I'm glad that I was able to at least do that somewhat and talk about some anime series that I really enjoy. But over time, I feel like most of the web content that I've reviewed has been mostly like original animations, like stuff like Has Been, Hell of a Boss, the big ones this year like Digital Circus, Lackadaisy, and Murder Drones.
Then the more Chris was making videos, he started introducing me to some of his little YouTuber friends, like this one guy called MediaWiz.
Over time, I felt like I needed to step away for a little bit, so I did. I decided I was stepping away from doing Captivated Christian, until I inevitably came back like a month later. And I remember years and years ago, I used to review a bunch of old YouTube videos. Like I remember we reviewed Guptil89's rant about video game reviewers using swear words. And the same with classic Sonic fans rant on the Sonic fan base. I mean, MediaWiz, he's okay, I guess, but I don't know, just how many fucking times can you talk about like Ed, and Eddie and oh, cartoons you grew up with, fucking movie vlogs on recent movies that I wanted to see, or food vlogs and drink vlogs and videos talking about theme park rides. You know, that's another thing I've been generally pretty interested in, and talking about like the history. And
if anything, I owned him because I constantly tell him about how everything he believes in is basically the road to white supremacy, okay?
While all of that was going on, I had my good friend Ariel Black always telling me that I'm wrong, or trying to play fact checker like the evil scumbag liberal atheist elite that she is.
And thankfully he has Ariel Black to show up and correct him whenever he's wrong, but let me tell you, she's also pretty wrong a lot of the time. I think she might have internalized misogyny or something.
Now, even though I told him I would much rather stick to talking about religious topics and political topics and stuff that is going on within the news, he said that it would probably be better if I primarily spent my time reviewing movies and TV shows and whatnot.
That guy, he is just so up his own ass. Like a lot of people on his side of politics, on the wrong side of history, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're not educated, they're not woke, they're not enlightened, they don't know what they're talking about.
See, Swigga, absolute fucking trailer trash garbage. I mean, he doesn't live in a trailer, but still, absolute white trash piece of shit. Obviously, music is my passion, and obviously, I was inspired by the greats, like Rucka Rucka Ali, and then there's that one dude with the sweater and the fedora, the hipster douchebag. Such a self-righteous little shit. I swear to God.
He said, what about me? That's it. I gotta go get my phone. It's time to go cancel him on Blue Sky.
So reluctantly, I took the job, and I figured, you know, maybe I'm still able to get my general religious and political opinions out there to help all the brainwashed sheeple out there who are forced to believe the woke mind virus. Chris T. Ian, or whatever his name is, dude with like the big 70s glasses. Total fucking idiot. Ever since I heard his shit back in 2006 on MySpace, I just knew that I wanted to do the same kind of shit that he did. And ever since then, I've been making Swigga parody songs. I've been improving. I've been doing everything I can to try and improve my content and make my songs and make my music better, make it art. You know what I'm saying? Even though I got to look at many wonderful productions like Mazes and Monsters and Harry Potter Witchcraft Repackaged and Rocket's Your Decision and Deception of a Generation and Circle Square and of course VeggieTales.
But I think my greatest achievement was being able to go back and review a bunch of My Little Pony episodes. Even if it means you have to go back and review stuff like Generation 3.
Don't even fucking get me started on Pony Fanboy. I swear to God, dude. In between all of that, I occasionally had to talk about just really stupid movies. Movies that are blatant ripoffs of these mainstream sheeple Hollywood garbage.
I got to meet Shannon Reviews and her friends Kathy O'Lick and Lucifer. They're just a couple of swell gals.
Typically they come from other countries trying to capitalize off of the successful movies we make here in America. They're usually from these companies that I've never heard of, like Sparkplug Entertainment and Video Brinquedo and Dingo Pictures and whatnot.
I started doing all these videos where I read fan fiction because I'm still really into fan fiction, and I read through a lot of pony-related fanfics, and I also read some that weren't pony-related.
Oh, and I also adopted the, fucking, Brony kid, you know, I adopted him. Not really because it was the right thing to do, but mostly because I wanted to get that sweet, sweet child support checks.
Then, all these years later, I found out there's an entire planet of people like me. Fanboys and fangirls from a bunch of different universes that all live together on one big planet. And there I got to meet some of my bestest friends. Aside from the guys on this channel, I got to meet the Powerpuff fanboy, and the Kim Possible fanboy, and the Teenage Robot fanboy, and the love of my life, Penny, the pony fangirl. And those Planet Goofball gals, oh, they're just so fun. They're just such a colorful bunch. They're really fun.
And every once in a great while, you get the fanboys coming and interrupting my videos. Yeah, those are always fun. Hey, just show up unannounced and just take over for a whole month. Hey, talk about something Powerpuff, talk about Teenage Robot, talk about Kim Possible. It's like, can you just casually request a review like most people do?
And we met these really rich and powerful guys on another planet called Megacorp, and they're these robot guys, and they have really flappy heads and beady eyes, and they tried to destroy us once or twice, or they tried making money off of us somehow. I don't know, I kind of forget that part.
I think I'd rather just turn a camera on, drink from the water bottle and give my thoughts on them. I don't know. I just think that's what I'm good at. I think that's what I should stick to doing. And hopefully it gets me over 10 Scrabbles. I just want to clarify something. You know, everybody says, oh, Adam, he's so cynical, he hates everything, oh, he hates all the other people on the channel and all that kind of stuff. And I wouldn't say that. I don't hate them. I despise them. There's a difference. I don't know why I'm typically given bad or weird cartoons to talk about, but for some reason, I guess my producers just find it funny that I have to sit through garbage like that. And while it's not garbage like mainstream woke Hollywood is garbage, it's still garbage, and I would much rather spend my time talking about more important issues in the world. Like how we need to keep talking about Star Wars and Bud Light.
By far, my favorite thing to do is get to re-watch old MLP episodes and get to talk about what makes them so great. Or, I guess in the case of some episodes, not so great.
After all these years, I think my highest achievement was getting Rucka Rucka Ali to notice me. He saw that I did a song parody tribute to him, and he even saw my video talking about his Everything is Racist CD release. So, hey, I consider that a fucking win. MC Swigga's fucking made it. You proud of me, mama? The best part of MediaWiz reviews, and most of this channel, honestly, is being able to collaborate with a bunch of wonderful people. Not only have I gotten to work with and even meet content creators who've helped inspire me, and we've worked together. I was able to cameo in videos they did cameos for me, but I also got to do a lot of crossover videos with people who are some of my closest friends to this day. Critical Kid, Nostalgia Kid, Austin Trench, Shannon Reviews, Patrick Alexander, Indie Fan, just so many people, and it really does mean a lot. And yeah, after all these years, I do want to keep that going, and I want to do more stuff like that in the future every once in a while. It's great to collaborate with people who are just as passionate when it comes to content creation. In all seriousness, guys, I wanted to end this video by addressing you all as myself, and I just wanted to give an honest and sincere thank you very much for the last 10 years. I remember, it seems like just a day ago, I had 15 subscribers, and I made a video complaining about having a video taken down by Hasbro, which ironically, I think that video is actually viewable now. But yeah, I remember that was such a long time ago, and it seems like where did all that time go? I also wanted to end this video with a bit of an update saying that I'm going to be taking a break for a while. I don't know how long, but it's going to be a couple months. I'll definitely try to come back to making videos sometime next year, but after 10 years of consistently uploading what seems like every other day, I wanted to take a little bit of a break. Typical content will still be there, the MediaWiz reviews, the Blockbuster Show, Captivating Christian, Pony Fanboy, MC Swigga, the Swigga game reviews. I think the only one that I'm not going to be continuing is, funny enough, Sidekicks, this series itself. I've done Sidekicks since 2020, and it's been a fun little side project here and there, but yeah, I feel like these characters work a lot more when they're a part of their own respective series, like Future Wiz and 30s Man on MediaWiz, or Uncle Toby, Mr. Durka, Julia Schwartz, and Captivating Christian. I feel like they all work better when they're just side characters in a series instead of all being lumped together into one main series themselves. And finally, the last thing I wanted to bring up is I'm going to try and do less videos. Instead of trying to make a video for every few days, I'm gonna try and space them out a little bit more, give myself a little bit more time. You know, after 10 years of this, it mostly was just because I wanted to see if I could do it, and apparently I was able to. I think the only time I had to take time off was when my computer died and I had to get a new laptop back in 2016. But other than that, yeah, I'll continue to make content. It might come at a little bit of a slower pace, but it'll still consistently come out, or at least I'll try to. And like I said, I can't believe that we made it to over 1,000 subscribers. I mean, I know that's not a whole lot, but the fact that people consistently come back and watch me doing all these wacky characters, talking about dumb, weird movies and cartoons and video games and stuff like that, it really means a lot. I never thought I would ever get this far, but yeah, it really does mean so much. So from Steve, the creator of this channel, thank you all so much for a wonderful 10 years of YouTube and creating content, and I will see you guys when we inevitably come back.